Hello, I want to talk about these 704 gear knives. I only recently got these, and this is an initial impressions. I have not used any of these knives really for anything significant, but I have some thoughts about these things. Disclaimer, I don't know anything about this company. Apparently they are quite well known. Apparently the owner is a successful and prolific YouTuber. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about him or his videos. I haven't watched them. So I'm going into this kind of dumb as far as what their history is and what they frequently talk about. I resisted the urge to watch any of the videos because I just want to talk about kind of what my thoughts are, kind of blind, and maybe later on I'll do more research about it. I have looked at their website, so I am familiar with a little bit of the ideology behind it. So if you're not familiar with these knives, the owner, his name apparently is Brian, he does a lot of knife testing, a lot of real world kind of testing and use, and so he made his knives a certain way. I believe he wants them to be very rugged and strong and sturdy and able to do it all. So I think they are rugged, hard use kind of philosophy sort of knives. My first introduction to these knives was this Fang. I bought it about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months ago. I came across it because another YouTuber pointed it out on his channel and said it was on sale. By the way, these knives typically go for about $29, $30. So they're right at the $30 mark. Frequently they're marked down to $20, which is where I got them all. So this Fang was $20, looked like a great deal, so I bought it. Then came this Harbor Master, again, $20, marked down from $30, so I thought that was a great deal, so I bought it. Then this Urban Ranger, I believe it's the Lite model, again, marked down to $20 from $30. So I bought all of these marked down. The Fang has a blade length listed at 3.2 inches and the weight is 4 ounces. The Harbor Master has a blade length of 3 inches and the weight is 4.3 ounces. The Urban Ranger Lite has a blade length listed at 2.9 inches and a weight of 3.3 ounces. I weighed mine and it weighs in at 3.6 ounces. This Fang I've carried around quite a bit, but haven't really used it. I have carried it actually for a couple weeks, just messing around, playing with it, carrying it around in my pockets, having it be with me, just kind of spending time with it. Harbor Master, I carried very little, but I've played with it and fondled it and messed around with it, just kind of tabletop quite a bit. Urban Ranger Lite, I have carried around a little bit for a couple days in a couple different kinds of pockets. Haven't really used it for anything. Have played with it quite a bit at tabletop. So that's my history with these so far. So all of these knives have this open back style. Makes it very easy to clean, but also makes it very easy for keys, change. If anyone still carries loose change around, I don't know who you are, but I'm sure somewhere out there, there's somebody that does that, and you have my respect if you do. Keys, change, whatever else you have that's thin will get caught in there and monger up your blade. They all have this, all the ones I have. I don't know if all of their models do or not. All open back. They're all quite thick in the handle. They're all quite thick in the blade stock. They all have pretty similar clip, but they don't all ride the same. This one's quite deep, and these two are really not deep. The clips should be deep, but they have this protrusion that sticks out. They all have thumb stud, same thumb studs. The thumb studs are not super pronounced, but I think that's because the handles are quite thick. Yeah, the thumb studs pronouncement, protrusion level is fine. They all have a very pronounced crossbar lock, axis lock, protrusion. These stick out a long ways, which is fine. It makes it easier. It makes it easy to hit when you're trying to close it. But they do stick out a long ways. And they may snag on your pocket. They're thickly ground. These two being narrow blades are thick. So this being a narrow blade is very thick behind the edge. This one being a wider flat ground blade feels less thick behind the edge to me. So this probably has the best edge geometry, but they all are quite thick behind the edge. All of them are set up for ambidextrous carry, and they're set up for carry in such a way that the clip screws are nested, but the clip itself is not. So the clip area protrudes off the handle, but makes it flat on the opposite side for those of you that don't like the aesthetics of having a recessed empty space on the opposite side. This is not like that. But my experience is sometimes with these types of clips that are not nested, sometimes they can snag. Clip area can cause a hang up. Sometimes this happens on your clothes, sometimes it doesn't. Some of them are worse than others, just be aware. I'd prefer if they're nested. This does not bother me if that's nested on the other side, but I know many of you are going to care about that. So now I'll just talk about each knife in turn, and I'm going to start with the Fang because it's the first one I got. So the Fang, it's a good Tonto shape. If you're into Tontos or you like Tontos, in my opinion, this is a good shape. I don't like when the Tonto angle is too steep like this. This is just about right for me, in my opinion. This does have a bunch of handles sticking out past where the tip of the knife is. So the handle proportionate to the blade is a little off. If that bothers you, be aware of it. Some people are probably OCD enough that that bothers them. It doesn't bother me, but it almost does. This is the only one of the models that I have. There's many other models besides these, you guys. These are just the ones I have. This is the only model that has a lanyard attachment. This will hold normal 550 paracord just fine. One thing I really dig about this knife is how this thing fits in my hand when it's closed. Not this way, that way. This thing feels like it was designed to fit in your hand just exactly like this and have a tiny little amount protruding out there to smash things. Could probably use this as an improvised Kubaton or Yawara stick if you guys are into that kind of thing. I actually kind of like when I can do this with my knives, and this one does it very well. So I like that. Overall, this thing is not really super uncomfortable. This jimping is useless. It does nothing for me at all. It doesn't slow down my finger. If 5 is really slowing my finger down and 0 is not slowing my finger down at all, this is significantly less than a 1. It probably slows my finger down like 0.5 out of 5. But it also doesn't hurt, so I don't have a problem with it. But if you guys are the kind of guys that want your jimping to do something, this jimping doesn't do anything for me, so you might be disappointed. The action on all of these, by the way, is great. I think these are probably all having bearing washers. They seem and feel like it, but I couldn't find anything on their main website or on the Amazon links. I bought these all off Amazon, by the way. I couldn't find anything that said if they are or not, but they feel like it to me. And I haven't taken these knives apart, so I don't know for sure. Moving on to the Harbor Master. This was the second one I got. The Amazon thing says this is a bottle opener. I hate this. I think it's really dumb. The information on the main website, on the main 704 Gear website about this knife does not say anything about this being a bottle opener. So I don't know if he actually intended for that to be one, or if the Amazon thing is just noting that because they think it's cool. I hate it. I wish it wasn't there. It can snag on me. It can actually hurt a little bit. And I can't just file it off or Dremel it off or cut it off because it actually does hook around this stop pin thing, and I don't want to mess with that, so I'll leave it. But things can get caught in there, things can get snagged in there. My finger rubs against it, and it's the kind of thing that I have the type of illness that makes me fester with things and that are actually bothersome. I have to actually kind of touch this and remind myself that it pisses me off. So there's that. No jimping on this one. Urban Ranger Lite. All of these knives, in my opinion, are quite heavy. They all feel very strong. All of the lockup is rock solid. None of them have any wobble at all in any direction. The action's great on all of them. Super easy to get to these on the close because they stick out so far. So this Urban Ranger Lite is not light. This is a heavy little freaking knife. And it's small. It's quite small. This says it's a 2.9 inch blade. So this thing is quite small and it is quite heavy. So if you are the kind of guys that like your knives to be heavy, this is probably the knife for you. If you don't want it to be heavy, this thing is heavy, in my opinion. They call it a light, which I thought was funny because it ain't light. But then I figured out they have another model that's bigger, that's like almost it's like 3/4 of an inch bigger. So it makes sense that this is the diet version of that. But when they say light in the name, just know this is not, like these are all, every one of these has full-on steel liners that are not milled, not skeletonized. These are full-on heavy-duty, solid liners. So this little guy is not light. This thing's jimping. Doesn't work either, but it has this little hump here and it's kind of ramped. It kind of ramps itself up just a tiny bit. So that upward angle may stop your fingers a little bit. I think that that upward angle stops my fingers a little bit more than this flat angle. So if this is a 0.5, 0.5 out of 5 for traction, this is probably getting closer to a 1 just because it's upward angled. Of these knives, this one is shaped oddly for my hand. I have mediumly large hands. Usually I'm not too picky about grips, and usually I can pick up a knife and make friends with it pretty quickly. This one felt funny. I think this boomerang type shape is going to make this area here determine how big your hand can be to fit in that. And mine barely does. And it barely does in such a way that my fingers are kind of on the losing end of the fit, and it's a little bit tight and it's a little bit uncomfortable. Normally that wouldn't bother me. I don't have much use for hard use knives in my life. My knife use in my life is very light. I like slicey knives. I like my knives to cut very well. And I've never broken a folding knife. I just don't use my knives like that. So if this is designed to be a harder use knife, those of you that have bigger hands than me, which many of you are going to, this is not going to fit you. It just won't. This is forcing your fingers to get clamped in there, and it's just not going to fit. The other thing about this knife, there is something about this thing that hurts my hand right there. And I figured out it's mostly the clip. I couldn't quite tell if it was the clip or if it was the handles. I spent a lot of time with all of these knives squeezing really hard. Most of them aren't too bad. Most of them don't cause me any real major discomfort, even if I squeeze really hard in a variety of grips. This one hurts. If I start to squeeze it all, this hurts really bad on my pinky right here. And I figured out it is the clip because I took the clip off and it felt better. But when I took the clip off, this handle still hurt me more than these do with the clip. So even without the clip, this knife is still uncomfortable here in this area on my pinky, and it's still uncomfortable because it doesn't fit my hand very well here. But otherwise, I love this knife. It's fine. I like the look of it. I like the idea of having a small, strong, rugged little knife, I guess, just in case I need it. But if you're making a hard use knife and you can't squeeze it, then gloves will probably help, but then gloves will make this lack of width area even a bigger deal. But this thing's fit wise for me is just kind of a miss, and I'm not usually too picky about that. So These two, all of these knives are available in OD green or black. I bought OD green because they were the ones that were marked down $10 and the black ones were not. And this one happened to be marked down as black. So these two are in D2 steel. This one's in 14C28N. On their website, they have this thing where they talk about their specialized sharpening method. So essentially they have their own revolutionary proprietary method for sharpening knives, which produces an unparalleled edge straight from the factory. I love this idea. I'm excited about it. So this innovative sharpening method is called their Pro Edge. For those of you who don't know, I care about factory edges. The edge of the knife is the most important part. Otherwise it's a hammer, a cudgel, I don't know, the bottle opener. The edge is important. I check every knife out of the box to see if it's sharp, and I kind of grade it in my brain about how sharp or not sharp I think it is. And I actually test many factory edges, even though I know many people are not happy about that, but I do it. So I'm kind of the factory edge guy. I think the factory edge is important. And obviously this company does as well. This Fang was very sharp out of the box. It could easily and cleanly shave my arm hair. So for me, on a scale of 1 to 5, that's a 5. I grade knives beyond a 5, by the way, if they can cut held hair. This is a 5 out of 5, which is very, very good. No problem, no complaint. Very impressed, especially at the $30 price mark, or $20, which is what I got this for. For me to get a knife that's a 5 out of 5, cleanly and easily shaving my arm hair is very impressive. Way to go 704, way to go Fang. This Harbor Master was not very sharp out of the box. In fact, it was quite not sharp, and I was a little disappointed because I got this one first and it was very sharp. And I did not know about their specialized sharpening thing. I actually just learned about that today. So I didn't know that that's something that they pride themselves on at the time. I just kind of expected it to be sharp like that was. And this was not even scraping my arm hair. So it was right at the point where it was almost trying to do it. So for me, on my dumb little scale, I would give that a 4 out of 5. And for me, if a knife's not scraping arm hair, I need to resharpen it. I want my knives to be very sharp. So this was quite dull, especially compared to this guy. So that's why this has sharpened lines on it, because I spent some time with this knife trying to put a different edge on it. So very sharp out of the box, 5 out of 5. Not scraping arm hair out of the box, 4 out of 5. This little dude was kind of right in the middle. He was right in between shaving and scraping arm hair, so we'll say that's a 4.5 out of 5. So mediumly sharp, very sharp, not sharp at all. I don't know what their system is for this Pro Edge system of sharpening. I don't know how it works. I haven't seen any information on it. Like I said, I considered looking it up before doing this video, but I changed my mind and thought I should just talk about it, kind of blind and dumb. But knowing now that they market their knives to have that as a thing, I'm going to ding them for not providing knives that are consistently sharp. 1 out of 3 is impressively sharp that I could say, okay, we can start calling that unparalleled edge. This is not an unparalleled edge. It's mediocre. This is definitely not an unparalleled edge. It's poor. So I'm going to call them out on that one, and I'm going to say this is the only one that I think met that requirement. These did not, which is fine. I can resharpen these, and that's totally fine. But some people can't. Some people don't know how to sharpen. Otherwise, I'm very happy with these knives. Their build is great. I'm a little unhappy about the fit of him in my hand, but he and I will probably still get along just fine. So that's my take on these 704 knives. Overall, I'm very happy with them. I'm extremely happy with the pricing. I'm very happy that this man is involved in actually testing and trying things out, and he's building his knives to accommodate that. I think these knives are a little harder use and more overbuilt than what I would prefer. Normally, for my normal EDC use and carry, I prefer something lighter and slicier. But for those of you who want a strong, sturdy, hard use knife at a budget price, you may consider looking at 704 Gear, because they probably have something that you will like that will serve you very well. That's what I've got for you today. Let me know if there's any questions, comments, or concerns, and thanks for watching.